On good Erev Shabbos, this week's Parshas, Parshas Tazria. Parshas Tazria has a lot of discussion about Tumah and Tyra, and the very first Rashi in this week's Parsha points out that, as the Parsha starts off, says Isha's Kisazria, that when a woman gives birth and she becomes Tameh, that Rashi says Kishem she'itzirasei shel Adam achar kol behema chayav ayif, just like the creation of a person was after all of the animals and the birds, in my Bereshis, kach Torah in nisparsha achar Torah behema chayav ayif. So too, the Torah is its laws are explained after the laws of behema chaya and ayif. So what that means is that we've just finished discussing in previous parshas all the karbanis and all the different animals, and all the halachas regarding those, and now we first start discussing the halachas of the tumah and tyra of a person. So Rashi is pointing out that it's that way now as it was by the creation of the world, when the world was created. First the animals were created, and then man was created. Then people were created. So the question is, why is Rashi saying this here? What lesson should we learn from this? And the Teres Moshe says a nice pshat, and I'll add to it a little bit of my thoughts. Teres Moshe says that you have to understand and put in perspective at what point in the Torah we're at right now. At this point in the Torah, Klal Yisrael is a very high point. They had left Mitzrayim already when they were at their lowest. Then they had left Mitzrayim. They had received the Torah on Har Sinai. They now had the Torah. Now they had the Mishkan. They built the Mishkan at the end of Sefer Shemos. They built the Mishkan. The Shekhinah had come down to rest. B'makom HaMishkan. They were dwelling amongst the Shekhinah. That's where they were at this point. And it would have been the Teres Moshe says it would have been very easy at this point for Klal Yisrael to get all high on themselves and say, "Hey, we're at a great point right now. We're really flying high." And it's teaching us, the Teres Moshe says, that it's kind of knocking you down a peg and saying, calm down, wait a second. Yes, it's true, you're on a high now, but you have to be careful. A person, mankind, has the ability, they have bechira, they have the choice. When they choose properly, they could be higher than any malach. But when they don't choose properly, then they can be as low as an animal. And the proof is that animals were created even before people were created. So if we're not careful, we can slip. We can slip down to the level of even lower than an animal, the Teres Moshe says. I think what the Teres Moshe is trying to convey here is that we can never get too high on ourselves, and we should never get too low on ourselves either. But we should never rest on our laurels. We should never think to ourselves, wow, we're doing so great. We're, a person makes a CM, I just finished the whole Masechta, amazing. You make it through Masechta Sivamis, you feel great about yourself. You shouldn't rest on your laurels. You have to keep going. You can't get too high. You also shouldn't get too low on yourself ever. That's a terrible thing. Don't let yourself slip to the level of an animal where you think that you're no better than an animal, because that's of course not true. It's always important to find the middle ground. So let's all try to keep in mind that that's what we should try to do. We should never rest on our laurels. We should never get too high on ourselves, and we should always keep on pushing and keep on trying to be better and better and better. Have a wonderful Shabbos.